So just see, beta, you have the physical state of the chapter. We will be first studying about rest and motion. Body at rest and body in motion. Then we have motion in two parts, uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Please make yourself mute.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then we will see non-uniform motion. Already, I think in class 7 we have done uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Non-uniform motion is again categorized into two groups, accelerated motion and decelerated motion. This decelerated motion is also known as retarded motion. Now, accelerated motion is again categorized into uniformly accelerated motion and non-uniformly accelerated motion. Decelerated motion is again categorized into uniformly, so uniformly and non-uniformly is a common word here. And after that, once you see it, you just see the equations of motion. So today what I'm doing, I'm just taking the definitions. So coming to the first definition, if you remember, but what do you think? If suppose you are in a room, if you're sitting on a sofa, so what do you think? You will be in rest. So whenever we say rest, body is said to be in the state of rest when its position, that means if you are considering yourself, then your position does not change with respect to a reference point. Now you can see this reference point now is the main point here. Reference point means suppose you are starting your journey from a railway station. That means now if you start with this, don't do that. This reference point is the point from where your journey has started. So you can just see the reference point is maybe yourself. And then if you start moving, suppose you start moving from sofa to the dining table, then you will be in motion and you will cover some distance also with it. So if you are at rest, you will not cover any distance. But if you are in motion, then you will cover the distance. So a body is said to be in motion when its position changes continuously with reference to a point. That means with respect to time also you will be changing, and with respect to a point you will be changing. Now suppose we have position A, and we are at rest only. So you will be only remaining in this position. But if you start your journey, suppose from A to B, that means when you will start this from A to B, your journey will be covering some distance and you are in motion. So this motion can be of different types. And already you have done in the lower classes, circulatory motion, that is again in syllabus of yours this time. Linear motion in a straight line path, that is also known as rectilinear motion. Oscillatory or vibratory motion, to and fro path with respect to the origin. Scalar quantity and vector quantity. I think this is the new thing you will be learning. Scalar quantity and vector quantities are the quantities of physics which are categorized into two groups. It is the physical quantity having own magnitude but no direction. That means only numerical value will be there, but we will not be knowing any direction. For example, they have given distance and speed from your book, but there are other examples also. With this, you can just write time, area, volume, all these things, they do not require any direction, only their value is very important. So distance, speed, time, area, volume, they come in the category of scalar quantities. Vector quantities are the new area of quantities you will be studying in this chapter. They are having magnitude as well as direction. So you will be learning new words, displacement, velocity, and if you remember in lower classes, you have done weight, or maybe you don't have any idea, then weight is the other quantity which is there in the vector quantity. In scalar quantity, mass is there. So mass and weight are the two quantities which are in different categories. Mass is a scalar quantity and weight is a vector quantity. So you just see that we have these main definitions starting your chapter with rest, motion, types of motion and types of quantities we have. Now come to the next slide. You can see, you will be seeing this on page number 98 of your book, Think and Act. And the chapter is motion. Now we have this motion in two groups. One is a controlled motion and another is a uncontrolled motion. And you can just see the definition here. When you just see what is happening on this part, we sometimes are endangered by the motion of objects around us, especially when the motion is erratic and uncontrolled. So can you guess any example like volcano, flood, hurricane, then tsunami? All these are not in your hand. And nowadays, like corona is there, but that's not a motion. It's a disease. So you cannot take that condition here. But now when we are talking about uncontrolled motion, all these uncontrolled motions are actually the motion which are not in your control. Flood can come anytime, rain can come anytime, hurricane can come anytime, tsunami can be there anytime. So I can just show you with the help of a simple figure here. Tsunami is the uncontrolled motion. And when we talk about controlled motion, any man-made thing, you are doing something in the factory, you're doing something at home, all these are controlled motion. Whenever you want, you can sit. Whenever you want to walk, you can walk. So when you see this control, so best example in the book they have given is hydropower, because mostly we are all, but I don't do this. I'm just seeing all these disturbance in that means you're not studying. You're just involving yourself. See this controlled and uncontrolled motion. Please, but you just behave yourself. I know all of you, what type of nature you have. Don't do this. So next slide. I've just taken a simple example of a train here. See, there is a boy here who is sitting in a train which is stationary, and one train is passing by. Have you seen? We are on the platform. This boy is on the platform and one train was passing through it. So when this train passed, see the bubble here. Train has started moving. This boy is thinking that this particular train when passed away, then this boy was thinking that his train is also moving. So he is wondering, we have not moved an inch. Then why we are thinking? See, this is the train and this boy is thinking that my train is also moving. So actually, because this kind of motion is the illusion type of motion, which is not actually happening, but you are thinking that this is happening due to the illusion. So he's just saying, oh, we have not even moved an inch, means we have not moved at all, but I was thinking that I am moving. I think this is a common experience most of you must have seen. So this is a train which was stationary and the train passed away. Have you understood this example? So sometimes some motions can be, same way, I'm just giving another example here. Suppose you are sitting in a car. Okay, and you are sitting, there are 5 passengers in the, 5 passengers including the driver. Okay, now when you think about, so you are maybe sitting just near to the driver's seat and you are thinking that what is happening outside. You will see that your car which is moving and you are also moving with it. And when you see your driver, you are sitting at the same position. So when you see your reference point, even your idea is also being changed. So these are the things we have to consider. So reference point is very, very important to find out the motion. So coming to the next slide now. Motion already we have done, but once again is the change in the position of body with time. Motion can be described in terms of distance or the displacement. Now there are two words here, distance and displacement. Distance actually is the actual length of the path traveled by a body. Is the actual path of the body or it is traveled by the body. Actual means suppose we are in a curve. You will just have that cover length and it will be 2 pi r as you know. So accordingly, whatever is happening, you can just see the distance traveled. But what is displacement? It is the shortest path. So I'm taking an example which is given in your book. Once you see it, you can see this is the O. O is the origin. This O is the reference point. Now you are starting your journey. If a body starts from the origin and moves to C, now you have come to C and then B, and then you reach A. You can see what is the distance traveled. This is a distance graph. Okay, now total distance traveled is 60. Now, actually your journey has not finished yet. You have come to A. Now what has happened? Now you are moving back. And when you are moving back from A, you have come to now C. That means your journey is this one and this one. So total distance will be OA plus AC. Now who is doing this? Remove it. See, this I have not made. Who has made it? Very good, very good. Shabash, aur karo. Do it once again. Do it once again. Now remove it. I'm waiting for you to remove. See, 3 lines are there on it, which I have not made. Better behave yourself. You are here to study, not to do all this. Are you doing it or not? Okay. Now, this is what you are doing. I am taking screenshot of it and then I will see. Okay, do it once again. This also, this red color. Remove it. So when we are talking, I am waiting. Yes, O to A. This line also I have not made, but still I'm waiting. You will remove it. I know it. So you just see OA plus AC. Okay, OA is 60. And when you see this, now directly you are not getting. See from this is 60. Okay, and C is as 25. 60 and 25. If you just subtract it, you will find 35. 60 plus 35 is 90 kilometer. That's the distance traveled. Okay, and then when you see the displacement part, but the displacement part is the shortest path. Now we are at C. O to C is the displacement. So what is it? 0 to 25. That means your displacement is only 25. So your distance traveled is 60 plus 35, which is equal to 95, but displacement is 25 only. That's the meaning of distance and displacement. These are new words. Distance is a scalar quantity. Displacement is a vector quantity. So let us see another example with the odometer. An odometer you've done earlier also, I think in 7th class. I've shown you the odometer in this particular diagram. You can see this part. This is the odometer. Okay, I've just put the arrow here. It is an instrument, or odometer is also known as autograph. Yes, beta, I will be asking you after some time, and just tell me after that. Okay, I will give you time. Don't worry about it. Speedometer is an instrument that indicates the speed. So speed, see, once again the line has come. See, I'm recording the entire session. Please don't do it. That's why I've recorded it. I will see once again and then I will tell you who is doing this. Okay? Remove it. Again, one by one you are doing. So this is that. See, but I'm not like other teachers. I don't like all this. So this is the speedometer which can increase. Okay, then next one is distance and displacement again. Now you can see this car. Okay, this car, which I have just made the animation myself. So just see, this car is actually starting from A, okay, and reach to B by following this path. See once again. Okay, this car has started now. Okay, and see, it has come to this position number B. A, C, D, E, F, G and B. But when I ask you that what is the distance traveled by it, you will just add this particular path. That means you will start from A to C, C to D, D to E by using any inch tape or any other device, or even you can have a thread and you can measure the measurement. But when you see AB directly, this red color line, okay, very good. You are also making it. Shabash, very good. अभी आपको prize मिलेगा इसका. A to B. Okay, this A to B is actually this is the displacement actually, but actually we would have come from this to this, but that's only a displacement, but we have actually covered this path. This was not the original path. So next slide is displacement. See, this is a special relationship. Displacement is always smaller than, equal to, or zero. That means if you see this condition of your diagram, you can see this distance is more as compared to the displacement. So displacement will always be either smaller or equal or zero. So I'm showing you different examples afterwards where you can just find. So first of all, just see the difference. Distance is length of the actual path. Displacement is the shortest length. It is a scalar quantity. It is a vector quantity. Distance can be positive, can be zero or negative. It can be positive, negative or zero. It can never be zero. Distance can never be zero. Distance can be equal to the displacement. Displacement can be equal to distance or lesser than, or it can be zero. Already which I have told you here. Okay. Then if you come over to the next slide, we are coming to the uniform motion, but before that, I will just show you my whiteboard and I will tell you 2-3 examples related to it. So just see, I will show you, there are 2-3 diagrams which I want to mention here. Suppose we have this path and we are starting from A and we have taken the path of a triangle. Okay, now A, B and C, and all the sides, suppose 5 meters each. Okay, and my journey starts from A, ends at C. Question is, what is the distance traveled? So distance is, if you start your journey from A to B and B to C, it will be 5 meters plus 5 meters, which is equal to 10 meters. But if I ask you, what is the displacement? If I ask you, what is the displacement? This will be shortest path. So, but if this is the displacement, that means only 5 meters. This is one example. Second example is, suppose we are having a path of a rectangle now. And we have this kind of rectangle, 5 meters here. Suppose it is 2 meters. You start your journey from A, you go from this B to C, then to D, and then you come back to A. That means your origin as well as final position is A. Then you will just say that from A to A, we have displacement, which is the shortest path, and we have come to the same point. Displacement is 0. But can you say that distance is also 0? No, it will never be 0. So what is it? It is from A to B, B to C, C to D, and A to, what is this? This is a perimeter. Perimeter is 2 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5. So 5 and 5, 10, and 2, and that means 14 meter is your distance traveled, but displacement is 0. So this is an example of displacement as 0 and distance as 14 meter. Another example, again I'm taking a square now. Okay, now with this square, suppose all the sides are 5 meters. You start your journey from A, come to B, come to C, and then D. So if you just see it, A, B, C, D. Now suppose we have come, this is the final position, this is the origin. That means this is origin and this is the final position. So when you see this, if I ask you, what is the displacement? What you will say, this is the shortest path. That means what it is? It is a diagonal. Now we have to find out what is the diagonal. And we will be using Pythagoras theorem. Suppose we are writing it, AC square is equal to AB square plus AC square, and we will be finding out AC. But if I ask you what is the distance, then it will be 5 plus 5 will be equal to 10 meters. So according to this, I've given you 3-4 examples where you can find distance and displacement separately. So I'm coming back to my next slide. So uniform motion and non-uniform motion. I think uniform motion and non-uniform motion was again you are not able to, okay, displacement and distance. I'm not able to understand displacement. Okay, no problem. I'm coming back to the displacement and distance again, using my whiteboard again. Okay, so just see, but the distance is actual path. Okay, and displacement is shortest path. Now, that's why I gave you example. Now I'm taking, okay, one more example. Let us take a circular motion. Okay, and you are starting your journey from A. Okay, the radius of, I'm telling you, but the message I've got, I'm telling you this, don't worry. Once again, I'm telling you, we are starting from A, and suppose my journey is finished at B. Okay, we have started from A to B. Now, this is the path we have to, so just see the path which we have taken. This is the path which we have taken. Now, if I ask you what is the distance? Distance, I told you it is the actual path. So this is the actual path, yellow color path. This is the actual path. This is the, see, you can see from A to B, I've come to half circle. So what you will write? You will write that it is 2 pi r divided by 2, because we have just covered the half circle from this to this. This is the circumference. Circumference divided by 2 is the actual path. Now, if as you have it confusion, what is a displacement? Displacement is the shortest path. Now, if I come from this path, you know, it is a longer path. If I want to go to B, what I will prefer, this is the shortest path. Okay, so if you will take AB as the shortest path, you can just see it is the diameter. So you will write the answer for diameter. So what it is? It is 2r. So if radius is given, you will be writing the displacement as the shortest path. So this is the displacement. And what is this line showing? Suppose if I have this path, which I have just covered with purple color, this is the distance, and which yellow color is the displacement. Have you understood? So basically, distance and displacement. Distance is the actual path covered by you, and when you start, suppose one more example I can take. Already I've taken, I'm telling you once more. So this is A, B, C, D. Suppose you start your journey from A and you come back to this position again, and suppose this is 10 meters each. It's a square. Suppose it's a square. All the sides are 10 meters. And we start our journey from A and we reach to A. That means A is our origin and A is the final position. If you just have this, what is the distance covered? Distance covered will be total of this. Total of this is, what is it? It is perimeter. Perimeter is 4 into 10, which is equal to 40 meters. Okay, and what is the displacement? You have come to the same position. You can see that I have come to the same position. That means my displacement will be 0. If you have come to the, so this is the shortest path. So distance and displacement, once again I'm telling you, distance is yes, my voice is not clear, but I'm speaking to maximum actually, but maybe if it is from your side, okay, just make it clear over there. And I have completed. Yes, but displacement will be asked in the question. Displacement is not the real thing which is happening. It is virtually happening. You have to find out what is your displacement means. Suppose you are in a classroom or you are in a room. Yes, beta. Scalar and vector. Scalar quantity. Scalar quantity is a quantity which has only magnitude. Magnitude means suppose you have distance. I will write 10 meters. Okay, I'm not writing its direction. But when you are talking about vector quantity, suppose I'm saying displacement. Displacement is the shortest path. That means you are saying it is the shortest path. So, suppose shortest path has this direction. Then your direction will also be mentioned in it. But distance is the actual path. You need no direction in it. So that's the difference between scalar and vector quantity. When you write a scalar quantity, this I've already told. Okay, scalar and vector. Suppose we have mass. You will just say it is in kilograms. But when we say vector quantity and we will write weight, then weight is always in the downward direction. Weight is never upwards and towards this side or the other side. It's always in the downward direction. But mass has no direction. So scalar quantities, they have only magnitude, only answer is there with the unit, but weight has a direction, which is a vector quantity. Okay, actually I was taking uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Now uniform motion, actually what you have done earlier. So I'm just taking my slide once again. If a body travels equal distance in equal intervals of time, it is said to be in uniform motion. So I think this we have done in 7th class also. And this is what we have taken. Actually, this part is T. This is S. So actually, when you see your distance, distance is always having a symbol of S. In lower classes, you were writing distance as D. Now you will not be using D as the distance. S is the symbol for the distance. S is not the speed. See, you are asking again and again scalar and vector quantities. Scalar and vector quantities are not in your syllabus. Only I have told you because in your book they have mentioned that scalar quantities they have not mentioned. They have just said that some quantities are there which has only numerical value. That is why I had used this particular example for you. Don't worry about it. Scalar quantity is a quantity which has only magnitude. And examples I've told. So whenever you write and differentiate something, you can mention that it is a scalar quantity or a vector quantity. Otherwise, there is no mentioning of this in your chapter. You're not even in book. Don't worry about it. Okay. So when we will be using it, you will be knowing it. So actually, your time is running fast. So I'm just taking this last slide today. See, people are coming very late. Students are coming very late in the class. But don't take so much of time. If a body travels equal distance in equal interval of time, so actually, you have seen this particular graph, distance and time. Now, for this particular graph, you can see, suppose this is the position, this is the position, this is the position, and you have made the graph. Now, in distance time graph, this line is a straight line because you have covered, suppose this is the graph, this is the graph, these are the values. Okay, here all of them, they have equal intervals. Suppose if it is 2 meters, this is also 2 meter, this is also 2 meter, this is also 2 meter. And here one. But a displacement is a vector quantity because it needs a direction. Shortest path you have to see, and that needs a direction. That's why it is displacement is a vector quantity. You are asking again and again. But read it today. Once again, I will tell you next time. Don't worry. I will give you the slide also today. Read it 3-4 times. Still, if you have any problem, don't worry. First time you are listening, you will be just discussing it again and again. Don't worry. In non-uniform motion, you can see this type of graph, which is not a straight line. Why? Because body travels unequal distance in equal intervals of time. Whenever you have a table for this, you can see this graph, they are not in a straight line. If your graph is not in a straight line, it will be a non-uniform motion. If your graph is a uniform motion, then your graph is always a straight line. But this is my first class. Economic classes she's taking. Okay, no problem. Okay, you would have told me earlier. Don't worry. I'm giving you this slide with my recording. Don't worry. Listen it again and again. You have not missed anything. Don't worry about it. Okay, I will be giving you this particular slide with my voice. So you just listen it once again. Still, if you have any doubt, no problem. We have, I think, next period on Saturday. So till then, you just see, because now only 2 minutes are left. That's why I'm saying. So quickly, I'm just taking my first slide so that you quickly see what we have done today. And I think now it will be more clear to you. We had started with motion. That was the chapter. This was the thing we were discussing, that you will be studying this particular thing in your chapter. Then we can see the next part. I've taken the rest motion, types of motion, and I've told you about scalar quantity, where I just said that it is a physical quantity which has only magnitude, no direction. So just see it once again. Then coming to the next slide, we have controlled motion and uncontrolled motion. Examples I taken. Then you can see the next one. This is only I given just for your reference, that sometimes, but please don't disturb. So you just see, this is the example, not actually happening, but when we are on a train in a platform, please don't do this, beta, don't disturb. Then I'm leaving, okay. परेशान हो आप क्या पढ़ने से? फिर शुरू हो गए? Okay, time is over then.